welcome to this Monday edition of This Day. It's February 26th. I'm Michael Taylor. Thanks for joining us. Got little clouds outside. Hope you had a nice weekend. It was a little cloudy, a little whatever, but we didn't have any rain, which was nice for a change. On today's show, we're going to tell you a little bit about what's going on here. We have concerned citizens, Jonathan Adler, coming in, talking to us about a lecture that they're going to have, a guest they're going to have from UCI, talking about democracy, fascism, and the differences there, and the rise of both of those and the fall of both of those. So talk a little bit about that with him. And then Representative Young Kim's going to be here talking about what she's up to in the 40th District and what she's been doing over in Congress. So looking forward to that. Hey, let's take a look at our Stay Informed today, and it's a good one. Want to maintain mobility and stability. Sounds like a good deal to me. It is the Optimal Aging Lecture Series. It's been ongoing. It's coming up Wednesday, March 6th. From 2:30 to 3:30 at the Performing Arts Center, Dining Room 1. You can learn the best strategies to promote mobility and stability, how to keep safe, active, and energetic. You can do that. The phone number is right there on the screen, 949-597-4267. Sounds like a good plan to me. Another good plan is us taking a look outside and checking out our weather. We got some sprinkles this morning. A few here, nothing major going on. We could have a little bit more rain this afternoon, but it's really just kind of scattered showers. I'd have to get the windshield wet, nothing major out here. Then it's going to clear out by tomorrow, and we're going to turn from partly cloudy to hopefully maybe mostly sunny on Wednesday. We'll see about that if we get an update in the forecast there, but pretty good temperatures. We're going to be in the 60s. High point of the week is going to be on Wednesday, maybe up to even closer to 70 maybe. We'll see how that adjusts as we go on in the week. Let's take a look at our sunrise and our sunset. It's a great shot today. Thank you, Ben Givens, always sending us great pictures. This one's from Corona del Mar. Beautiful view. The houses over here and the beach and the ocean out there, right there at the jetty. Sunrise this morning was 6:25 a.m. Sunset tonight is going to be 5:42. All right, if you'd like to send us a picture, we'd love to see it, just like Ben did. You can send us your pets you have, your places you've been, vacations, sunrises, sunset, whatever it might be. If you think it's a great picture, I'll bet we'll agree with you. Send it to Laguna Woods Village TV at gmail.com. Make sure you include your name and where you took the photo, and we will use it on our sunrise sunset segment. Okay, let's take a look at some meetings we have for you today, and then when we come back, we'll be talking to Jonathan Adler from Concerned Citizens. Stay with us.
Welcome to Harvard Eye Associates. We're focused on your eye care at all three of our Orange County locations.
Our new location in Laguna Hills, Orange, and San Clemente.
Each facility features the latest in advanced technology and diagnostic equipment.
And a trusted collection of doctors that care about your vision and your quality of life.
We deliver what matters to you and your family.
Harvard Eye Associates, the future of vision today.
Pet boarding and daycare reimagined in Laguna Woods. Smart Park is offering 1 month of unlimited free daycare to new clients that pass a temperament evaluation. Call today to redeem this offer and get started.
For over 20 years, Orange County has taken its unwanted gold, jewelry, timepieces, sterling silver, and coins to the Jewelry Box estate buyers and always received top dollar. We are a full-service repair center, too, where you can rest assured our on-premises master jeweler will repair any jewelry in our state-of-the-art facility. Come see why for over 2 decades, Orange County has relied on the Jewelry Box estate buyers.
At the Jewelry Box estate buyers,
it's about trust.
Visit us online at jewelryboxestatebuyers.com.
You don't have to leave Orange County to find world-class healthcare. 1,800 top physicians, 400 physician offices, 15 urgent care centers, 9 health and wellness centers, 6 specialty institutes, 3 award-winning hospitals, 1 world-class healthcare system, right here in Orange County. Choose complete care. Choose hope.
Concerned Citizen Club has a great speaker coming up. We're going to get to that and more with Jonathan Adler. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael. Nice to be here again.
And tell us a little bit about folks who don't know, what is Concerned Citizens all about? How did it start? What kind of programs do you bring to the fore?
Concerned Citizens started in 1981. It was then called Concerned Citizens for Peace. That was in the height of the Cold War. Reagan had just become president. Right. Gorbachev was in the Soviet Union. And over the years, it added some areas of focus. So it's now involved with economic and social justice, good government, and the environment. So we present speakers on the first Tuesday of every month, and either a speaker or a video on the third Thursday of every month. So, you know, we're here to educate and inspire and inform our members and guests about issues of our times.
Are you surprised over the years how the forefront has come to in terms of environmentalism, in terms of our concerns about global warming, those kinds of things? It's really become a political issue as well as a concern for everyone, really.
And Concerned Citizens has set up a special committee with even some subcommittees to deal with that. So yes, that's one of the issues that we focus on.
Now you have a speaker coming up on March 5th, UCI political professor, Kristen Renwick Monroe. Tell us a little bit about her background. She's quite a esteemed colleague at UCI.
So her title is UC Irvine Chancellor's Distinguished Professor of Political Science. And the word distinguished is not an adjective that comments on her ability. It's part of the title. It's probably the highest title a professor can have. I was looking for a speaker to talk about democracy, autocracy, and fascism. I was at a birthday party with a dear friend who's a professor of philosophy, and she had a lot of her academic friends, some of whom I know, and I asked them for a recommendation. Who is the best professor in the area who can talk about those things? And they said Professor Renwick. Okay. So that's how we came to, I came to focus on her, and she was gracious enough to accept. She is among her titles, well, first of all, let me say she has, they say, really changed the area of political theory.
In what way has she done that? I mean, has she been that influential in the field?
That is what it is said.
Okay.
So her focus has been not just on politics and government, but on individuals and their moral choice. Let me just say the name of the center at UCI that she founded. The UCI Interdisciplinary Center for the Scientific Study of Ethics and Morality. So she and her students interview people and look at what it took for them ethically and morally to do what they have done.
So they take some really deep dives into the heart of what makes a political movement or creates a philosophy and those kinds of things?
That, and in particular, one of her books is about moral choice in the Third Reich in Germany in the 30s, and how democracy dies and died there, and fascism historically, real fascism, Germany, Italy, Japan, Spain, how it really arose and what the role of the individuals were in that collapse of democracy and the rise and tolerance of autocracy and ultimately fascism.
So her lecture and her series comes from a base of knowledge going way back to the origins of these movements, really.
Well, the title of our program is If You Can Keep It, Democracy and Autocracy and Fascism, Then and Now. So then refers to the 30s and Europe, but it also applies today. So we are concerned, and she will be talking about the current situation, current status in the United States, and what we have learned in an academic sense, from the fascist, so-called fascist playbook or the autocrats playbook, all the things that were done to create, the autocracy and fascism of the 30s and how it might apply today.
Well, and the fascism was a bit of a movement here in the United States before World War II, and then after that it became this cautionary tale of what happens when you go in that direction, right?
Well, some of us have read, and you may be referring to Rachel Maddow's book, Prequel, which really dealt with the pre-World War II literally fascist movement in the United States.
Right.
The people really don't have any idea how powerful it was that almost kept us out of supporting England and France and Japan and ultimately getting into World War II. Yes.
Yeah. Now, when in the 60s, fascism became kind of this insult you just throw out to a cop or anybody who was working for the government, that kind of thing, or the military, fascists, those kinds of folks.
Well, I really have to admit, I was in Chicago in 1968 at the Democratic Convention.
Are they still looking for you?
In Grant Park, and it was, ultimately called, from a later investigation, a police riot.
Right.
So yeah, we were a little bit upset. I was a little bit younger then, younger than today, and yeah, I could hear shouts of fascism at the cops as epithets. But today, it's often being used across the board, politics and media, in a much more accurate and technical sense.
Right, now it's being applied to the political movements of today, in some areas, right? In terms of like what the theory is behind it, what the movement's about, what their desires are.
Yes, and our title of the program starts with the words "if you can keep it." And without being a spoiler for what's coming out in the Globe on Thursday, I started that with a quiz of where did that come from? What does it mean? Who said it? And the answer is Benjamin Franklin, 1787. At the end of the Constitutional Convention, a lady came and asked him, Dr. Franklin, what have you given us, a monarchy or a republic? And his answer was, a republic, madam, if you can keep it. And that really applies to us today. And Professor Renwick's talk will focus on those moral and ethical qualities of people who are working to keep democracy alive and to resist fascist and autocratic tendencies today.
Where do you land on that scale? I mean, you've seen a lot, obviously. You've seen demonstrations through the 60s and World War II aftermath and those kinds of things. Where do you land on that? Is it as fragile as some people are concerned that it might be? Our democracy?
I frankly don't know. And I think we might find out on March 5th in Professor Monroe's talk. Her latest book looks at the people who've resisted. I mean, this is not a secret, but Donald Trump has, taken over really the Republican Party. He's calling the shots. And there are some people who have resisted, including the two on the January 6th committee, Representatives Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, and other people who have worked in that Trump administration. So it is a subject very much alive today, and I think the jury is out, as it were.
All right. Well, we shall see. We'll look forward to the speech. We want to make sure, if you can keep it, democracy, autocracy, and fascism, then and now, with Professor Kristen Renwick Monroe, and she'll be discussing those things and more. It's going to be Tuesday, March 5th, Clubhouse 7 p.m. Make sure you get out there and enjoy it. Jonathan Adler from Concerned Citizens, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, when we come back, we'll be talking more with our local, Assemblywoman, Young Kim. Stay with us.
The Hogue Classic is returning March 20th through the 24th. Defending champion Ernie Els and a Hall of Fame roster of PGA Tour legends descend on Newport Beach Country Club to take top prize from the $2 million purse. Come experience the thrill of champions. For tickets, visit hogclassic.com. See you at the beach.
Congresswoman Young Kim represents California's 40th district, and which also is part of Laguna Woods Village right here. So we want to welcome her back to our program. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me again, Michael. Good to see you.
Great to see you. So I want to start off with what is going on in Congress right now. You guys are going to be doing your best to make sure you're hitting some deadlines here,
Yes,
right?
Yes. We have the little deadline of March 1 and March 8. So when we get back to Washington, we're going to hopefully try to finish up. So if we don't get those done in 3 days before the first deadline, it is unlikely that we'll get everything done. So chances of getting another short-term continuing resolution is a possibility.
Yeah. How frustrating, and both sides of the aisle, I think, are very frustrated by that. How frustrated are you personally that you can't seem to get a bipartisan kind of coalition government going forward with these bills and these budgets?
You know, I mean, I am frustrated, as many viewers and Americans are watching what's going on in Washington, D.C., because we are in a very divided government. But despite that, I want people to know that there are some of us working really hard to get things done. And so that's what I'm here to talk about, because I am working on behalf of my constituents.
Right, and since you've been in Congress, you've got 15 bills signed into law, you've passed 30 other ones. So, I mean, you do get stuff done.
Yes,
and let's talk a little bit about what you have on their table right now in terms of senior
healthcare. On the table
healthcare.
right now is obviously I am very focused on protecting and strengthening Social Security and Medicare, protect the rights of our seniors to get the right health care. There is a legislation that I'm currently working on in a bipartisan way. I introduced the bill, the Medicare Economic Security Social Solutions Act. Many seniors are unaware that if they do not sign up for Medicare, especially Part B that pays for their doctor's visits and any other medication that they need, by the time they turn 65, there is a late enrollment fee and penalty. This legislation will cap it at just one-time charge. Because right now, the way it is, if you are late in enrolling, you're going to be paying 10% more than the current premium calls for forever until you're enrolled in Medicare. That is unfair.
So why do we have the late enrollment fees? Why aren't seniors just automatically enrolled in that? Is there a reason behind that?
I do not know what the reason behind that was, but again, we are going to change this inequality
there we go.
for senior citizens. So I want to make sure that I get this through the finish line. Another legislation that I'm working on is Healthcare Act. We want to make sure there is accessibility for senior citizens. You know, just because you don't speak the language and English is not your first language, you shouldn't be discriminated from getting the quality access to care that you deserve. So what this healthcare bill will do is create a universal language symbol. So if you go to a doctor's office and you don't speak your, let's say, Korean, Vietnamese, or Chinese, you should see a universal language sign that says you can ask for someone that speaks on your behalf for that language.
Okay, that's terrific, because there's not only a barrier in terms of access and those kinds of things, but then when you're actually there and you have a language barrier, that is a huge problem for folks, right?
Exactly. And another thing is the SPIC Act. We're going to develop recommendation and best practices on addressing those barriers in healthcare information, especially in technology area, since seniors are not very computer savvy, tech savvy. So now when we're doing a lot of healthcare services through telehealth services, we want them to be aware of how they can utilize these new technology.
Right, because so many seniors are maybe housebound. They aren't able to drive to an appointment anymore. So telehealth is really with the technology we have today, one of those real things that kind of breaks down those barriers to access.
It was a game changer, especially during COVID, when we were all locked down at home.
Right. And I think people, you know, I've also seen, you might not know about this, but I've also seen efforts to keep people out of the hospital, like they're in there for one day for something minor, have just home visits and home care, hospitals actually visiting someone's home, like the old house call days, instead of having somebody to be admitted just to get maybe an infection treated or something mild, right? And so I think there's that accessibility, especially for seniors, is an important thing to work on.
So all of these bills that I mentioned is geared towards making sure that our seniors have the access to care they deserve in the languages that they speak. Yes,
yes, very important.
Yeah.
You also want to talk a little bit about reckless spending, what you see as, like, you know, kind of throwing money at some of the challenges and causing a lot of inflation. What are your concerns there? What do you hope, especially on the Republican side? I know they want to have offsets and those kinds of things, but what are you looking at for that?
Well, what we're trying to do is, last year I worked on a legislation called the Inflation Prevention Act. With the $34 trillion national debt we have, and it's rising, guess what? The number 2 line item on our national budget is the interest on our national debt.
On the debt.
So we have to get this under control. So my legislation, actually, I worked this with Congressman Mike Garcia. Any legislation, Congress should not be passing it if it adds more to the inflation until we get year-over-year inflation rate below 4.5%. That is just one of the many ways that we can get this inflation under control, because you know, persistent inflation and, you know, rising living costs is adding more burden to especially our senior population here in Laguna Woods and surrounding communities.
Is a balanced budget just kind of a dream at this point? I mean, can any Congress, can any president get a balanced budget through anymore? I mean, there's so many add-ons, there's so many things that are going on.
Political will, yes. We just need to get it done. I mean, look, if you and I can do this with our small household budget, right? We can't spend more than what we bring in.
Right.
If our you know, national debt is at a certain level, the first obvious thing is to bring it down. Let's take care of the, you know,
those
what
are tough
we
cuts,
owe, right?
But those are tough cuts, and sometimes the political will isn't there because they know if you make these cuts, voters will hold you accountable, and maybe.
And another difficult thing is these entitlements, right? For over generations and generations, including those, you know, taxes that we had to put in because of the Spanish War. Look, we're way beyond that. But the challenge is, once you have a tax increase, it's very hard to undo it. This is why we need to have a political will and say enough is enough. We don't want to settle our future generation with these trillions of national debt that our generation is created. So let's take care of it now.
Okay. One more point I want to hit before we go. Organized retail crime seems to be on the increase, at least anecdotally we see it on the news a lot. What are you proposing that can be done legislatively?
So while we are dealing with this, you know, many other issues, I'm dealing with it from day one. I've seen it. I hear this from communities all the time when I come back. So past federal investigations on organized retail crime bill, it's HR 319, and I'm asking anyone who's watching to contact your you know, federal legislators. You got me, I'm your advocate, but we need to do this so we have a better improvement and coordination with federal, state, local, and county levels so we can tackle this, because now National Retail Association is telling me the revenue lost because of the organized retail crime is on the rise. It's now at $95 billion in 2021. That is an increase from $90 billion from 2020 level. So this is affecting a lot organized retail crime. Again, I'm looking at senior citizens going to Walmart or CVS or Target, wherever they go to get their prescription refilled. Look, the retailers are worried about their organized retail crime, but I'm worried about the safety of the people frequenting those stores.
You see those videos, the mobs come in and then everything gets got a lot of chaos. So if we can do anything to prevent that, that would be a great thing.
So
Congresswoman Young Kim, 40th District, you have 2 offices. People can come by and visit you. They can email you. They can call the number.
It's on the
there
screen.
It is on the
So
screen.
yes,
Give
I
her a
have
call.
2 offices in Anaheim Hills, Mission Viejo, and then mobile office hours in Laguna Woods right here at the City Hall every third Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.
The Salvation Army Orange County is committed to building hope in people's lives rather than just more shelters. The Center of Hope, a comprehensive homeless care solution, combines a 325-bed emergency shelter, 72 permanent supportive housing apartments, on-site medical, dental, vision, and mental health care, and an award-winning drug and alcohol rehabilitation center. Donate today to transform lives, create safer neighborhoods, and provide an opportunity to end chronic homelessness in Orange County.
Hoarding is a complicated subject, but it's something that can quickly become dangerous. Stockpiling items like newspapers, clothes, receipts, or more become unmanageable amounts of clutter, which develops into health and safety risks. The clutter becomes unsanitary and often full of flammable objects. If you or someone you know might be struggling with a hoarding disorder, contact Laguna Woods Village Social Services. Help keep your community safe and healthy by disposing of unwanted, unused, and unnecessary items.
Welcome back. It's time to talk Monday movie, and it's a good one for the folks who are fans of the Hunger Games. We got the Hunger Games, Songbird and Snakes. It is with Rachel Zegler and is brought to us by Providence Mission Hospital, 2 p.m. with the subtitles, 6 p.m. without the subtitles. And it is a prequel to the Hunger Games films that began back in 2012. It is the 5th installment of the movie series. It's set 64 years before the events of the first film. Its plot follows the events that lead young Coriolanus Snow on the path to become the tyrannical leader of Panem, including his relationship with the Hunger Games District 12 tribute Lucy Gray Baird during the 10th Hunger Games, for those of you keeping score at home. So anyway, that's going to be today for our Hunger Game fans. That's going to be a fun one for you. Let's talk a little bit about a trip coming up that the New York Club is taking. They are going to be going down to the San Diego Safari Wildlife Park. That's going to be on Wednesday, February 28th. You can still get to them. You can send them a check by mail if you want to get in there. If you have any questions, you can call Mindy Stein at 917-620-8663. They're going to be going down there. It's going to be $50 for the bus ride, $60 for non-members on the bus ride. The good news is if you're 65 or older, you have free admission to the park. If you're not 65 or older, well, what can you say? You're going to have to pay to get in, but that's going to be part of it too. But sounds like a fun trip. That's going to be coming up on February 28th, so enjoy that one if you want to get down to San Diego and see all the lions and tigers and bears they have down there. I've been there. It's actually pretty fun. Let's take a look at our weather. We got a little bit of off and on rain today, folks, so don't be surprised if you have a couple sprinkles here and there, but no real downpours, just mostly some showers on and off. And that's going to clear out by later this afternoon, and we're going to be left with partly cloudy, some sunny, a little bit maybe on Wednesday, and that's going to be it for us today. Tomorrow on This Day, the old pros are going to be with us in the Republican Club. That's going to do it for this edition of This Day. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at This Day, we hope you make this day a great one.